I have always known that my role here on earth in this incarnation, whatever you want to call it, was to improve the lives of our companion animals. And so I've known that from a young age. And yet somehow I lost my way through a series of circumstances. And starting at about 12 years old, I ended up going to university and graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in French literature. You've got that right. An interesting wrinkle is that I ended up going to 2 universities with veterinary schools. And considering the fact that there are so few veterinary schools in the country, certainly many states don't have one. I went to Michigan State University and then completed my studies at University of Tennessee, Knoxville. So interesting. Not quite sure why that happened that way. But when I got out of college and looked for good liberal arts jobs, I actually found a job where I got to speak French. I found 2 of them. I decided to go back to vet school. So I had a bunch of natural science classes I had to complete. I loved them. I did that in Nashville at Tennessee State University, Middle Tennessee State University. And I thoroughly enjoyed enjoyed chemistry, biology, physics. It was all really great. And in doing that, I was also studying to find out more about my field and realized that veterinary medicine, as it was, another 4 years to get a degree would be really restricting, would be expensive, and would restrict my interest. What was becoming more fascinating to me through a business I had started to free up my time was animal behavior. And I started a dog daycare called 4 Paws at 5 Points in East Nashville. Those of you who are Nashvillians know probably exactly where that business was. And after a short period of time, realized that I couldn't continue that. I was still working, and I went back to my studies to get certification. I had joined the Association of Professional Dog Trainers, the APDT, and they had, with other organizations, spin off a certification for dog training, the CCPDT, and I did not end up finishing that path, but the books that were recommended were life-changing for me in terms of training, really changed my type of training, introduced me to B.F. Skinner and the 4 quadrants of learning and other learning theory. So when I realized I was going to set that aside, and I got married, and as every new spouse once, quit my job and decided to go off on my own. I'm looking at my husband right now, looking off into the distance and kind of grimacing. But so in 2004, I got married. I really started training full-time at Red Rover. A friend of mine had started that. And in 2005, when she got to a point shortly after I started training there where she really needed to hand it off, my husband and I bought Red Rover from her, and it is still alive today and has been through many different locations. We did daycare on a large scale, not to me as a care provider, but to individuals, up to about 40 dogs a day, and sometimes more, and up to 20 dogs a night in boarding, which we eventually picked up. That was really an amazing education. So for 20 years, I got to watch domestic social dogs engage with each other. Some of the theories that I had didn't bear out in observation. I watched dogs do things that I thought was play and turned out over years sometimes not to be play. So cues that they were giving other dogs were nothing more than a way to control a situation, but really the dog was not having a good time. So I am so grateful for those many years of observation with large groups of dogs, and dogs over their lifetime too. And that is why I want to take this to the next level, which is WilloWisdoM.